Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. Today we're going to be doing another movie review. This one is going to be for Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse, which is a sequel to 2018's Into the Spider-Verse, a film that many consider to be one of the greatest comic book movies ever made. I personally think it's fantastic. I've watched it probably 3 or 4 times. I believe it's like in 10th place on my Letterboxd ranking of the greatest comic book movies of all time, so I absolutely hold it in very high regards. I don't think I really need to tell you what makes it so great. The film really is best explained as a work of art. Both of them really are. I guess I kind of just spoiled my thoughts on the movie as a whole. But to me, both of these Spider-Verse films have been sort of the closest you can get to presenting comic book material in the form of a feature film. And it's not just the comic book style imagery and illustrations that make it so amazing. For me, it's also this really crazy, bizarre, multiversal story in which we have all of these different spider people meeting each other. I will say though, one of my concerns going into this was the fact that we've done multiverse stuff so many times now that I feel like it's sort of become the norm for cinematic universes. Everything, Everywhere, All at Once, Spider-Man No Way Home, Doctor Strange, DC's about to do it with The Flash, and that's not to say that I haven't really enjoyed the multiversal aspect to some of those films in varying degrees. Some of them I obviously like a little bit more than others. Point is, it's hard not to go into these with the concern that this multiverse stuff is going to start to be used as just a crutch when these superhero movies run out of content, they run out of ideas. I feel like I'm rambling on and on. Let's get to the synopsis of this movie. In Across the Spider-Verse, Miles Morales, played by Shameik Moore, and Gwen Stacy, voiced by Haley Steinfeld, discover that this multiverse of spider people is bigger than they possibly could have imagined. Now they find out that there's this spider society, which is basically a giant organization of spider beings, I'm going to say, because not all of them are human, but their job is to sort of protect the multiverse from dimensional anomalies. I don't know, for some reason I can't read that statement and not be reminded of Loki, but I don't want to make it sound like it's a bad thing that this goes in the Spider Society route, because I think the movie more than stands out when it goes into that. The society is run by Miguel O'Hara, voiced by Oscar Isaac. He's a new character, and Miles and Gwen become involved in this when a new villain, the Spot, played by Jason Schwartzman, pops into their universe and starts doing some damage. Okay. I feel like that was just the setup for this review, and there's a lot going on in this movie, so I'm going to try to keep my thoughts as organized as possible as we go forward here. First and foremost, I want to say that everything from the first film that was great carries over here. It's artistically brilliant, there's blending of styles, breathtaking animation, and action sequences that genuinely left me in awe. However, I will say, beyond all of the crazy action and multiversal stuff and just the visuals alone, I appreciate that at times the film still feels very character-driven. A lot of this movie is just Miles Morales being Miles Morales. We get a lot more into the family dynamic with his parents. His relationship with Gwen was expanded in ways that are really satisfying. Obviously, I don't want to get too detailed without spoiling things. And very importantly, it feels like there are stakes here and the characters do grow around them and sort of learn more about them as we go through the movie. I want to take a second to appreciate the voice acting here too, because it's really easy to pass that off and say, well, they're only doing about half the work because the actors aren't actually on screen. We're just hearing them talk. But after seeing 2 films with these voice actors playing some of these characters, it really is tough for me to imagine other voice actors doing it. Shameik Moore in particular, he just does an excellent job with Miles. As for new characters that stand out, there are a lot of them, so I can't really talk about each and every one, but I will say Oscar Isaac as Miguel O'Hara was really cool. I enjoy his character. There's a bit of complexity there that we don't get to explore fully in this movie. We'll see what happens moving forward. Jason Schwartzman as the Spot was really funny, but he's also very threatening, very bizarre kind of villain, especially what they do with him visually, but I enjoyed the heck out of it. And because we're dealing with the Spider Society here, we get a lot of new Spider-Men, women, and other various creatures, and there's not really time to talk about all of them, but just to list a couple of standouts. Daniel Kaluuya, he voices Spider-Punk. Pretty cool. I wish there was more of him. I had heard great things about him, and I just feel like he was underutilized. Another character that I could have used more of is Jake Johnson's Peter Parker. He was such a standout in the first one, and I feel like they kind of delegated him to the background here. He's often used for comic relief, especially in some of the more intense sequences. I miss the heart that he brought to that first film. Again, not that some of that isn't here, it's just he wasn't utilized to the fullest extent. There are a lot of other ones that are just cameos, but the reason, or I guess excuse, that I'll offer for them is that this film is meant to celebrate the collective canon of Spider-Man as a character across all forms of media. and you really do see just about every variation of the character that you could possibly imagine. As far as flaws go, this one is about a half hour or so, I think, longer than the first one, and there's definitely some fat that could be trimmed. I want to reiterate that I really appreciate the character-driven story, the fact that a lot of the time spent with Miles Morales and Gwen Stacy is them without their costumes on. Miles gets a lot of great scenes with his family. Gwen gets some backstory, which I really appreciate. However, the start is very slow. It kind of takes a while to get into its groove, but once it sucks you in big time, and I was just there for the ride, man. The second half of this film is truly incredible. I think it brings a lot of things full circle. I love that while this sequel feels fresh and different in plenty of ways, the plot of the first film is still extremely relevant here, and we see consequences to characters' actions in the past. Not all of that gets resolved because it does end in a cliffhanger, but I think it's a cliffhanger done right. It's very earned because when the film ended, I can't wait to see what happens next, and that doesn't happen a lot. The third film is supposed to come out in March of next year. I really hope it doesn't get delayed because I want to have all of the crazy shit that happens in this movie fresh in my head because there's so much. This is a really packed film, but I think it does a great job of trying to bring as many of those plot lines as it can full circle. This is an easy 4.5 out of 5. It's an excellent film. I don't think it's quite perfect. I didn't think the first one was perfect either, but they're fantastic. Go and see it if you have any interest in Spider-Man or just comic book movies in general, or if you just really like animation, because this is some of the best stuff we've ever gotten. I think it's some of the best stuff Sony has ever given us as far as films. And yeah, I can't wait for the next one. So there you have it, guys. Those are my thoughts on Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse. Do let me know in the comments what your thoughts are once you've seen the film. And I guess just for fun, excluding these Spider-Verse movies, what's your favorite Spider-Man movie? Don't forget to hit the like button and subscribe if you want to see more videos like this, and I'll catch you guys in the next one. Thanks for watching.